This episode of the Citadel Cafe is brought to you by listeners like you. Visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe to find out how you can become a patron and help make this show possible. This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 497 for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. My name is Joel Duggan, and the Citadel Cafe is where my friends and I hang out to talk about the geeky stuff that we're into. The podcast is available on all major podcasting platforms, including YouTube. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing wherever you're listening. Joining me, as always, is my friend Steven. You can find him at StevenESC on all of the social media that matters. Hello, my friend.
Hello, and how are you?
I'm good. I can hear a siren in the distance, and I'm just debating as to whether it's going to go by your place first or my place first.
Yeah, we live, for those who are new to the show, we are close enough. We live physically close enough to each other that if we hear a sound effect in the background of one of our feeds, it's likely going to hit the other one soon.
This is not going to mean anything to anybody other than maybe to you and I. But the last couple of days, I think it was 2 nights ago, there was a helicopter that was going over the house constantly. And on one hand, you're just like, okay, it's fine. Like it's obviously something that's needed, because I think if I was to kind of judge from a glance, because I couldn't always see it, it looked like the medevac helicopter that often goes to Dartmouth General, which is close by to us. So on one hand, you're just like, well, that sucks. I shouldn't complain about it, but somebody is in a much worse state if they're being airlifted to a hospital at some point. But it was just constant. Like it's been a long time since I've had a helicopter shake the apartment building, like nearly all evening. And so I don't know, it could have been fire related too. I mean, for folks that are not aware, in Nova Scotia here in Canada, we've got a lot of provincial forest fires happening. And so there's a lot of air support, either from local firefighters or from other provinces that have loaned like aircraft to help support them. And Shearwater Air Force Base is also very close by. So that could have been that, because I couldn't always see it, but it was just loud and really constant. And again, like I'm not complaining, it was just noticeable, because normally it's quite quiet in the evenings around here. So there's just been a lot of commotion the last little while, including this morning when a blue jay woke me up at like zero dark stupid. I was like, the sun isn't even up yet. What the the joke on stream and on the spawn chunks, because I record the spawn chunks at 10 a.m. is that if there's a blue jay anywhere in my backyard, it sounds like it's on my shoulder, because their call just cuts through all of the ducking that the mic does, and it just sounds like the blue jay is right on your shoulder. And they're in the crow family, and it's a very pretty bird, but it's not a pleasant sounding bird. It's really quite shrill. And this guy was on point this morning, and I was just like, it is 5:47. I was not happy, because it was also like at that hour, I'm not getting back to sleep. If I wake up at 4, I can fall back asleep. But if I wake up at 6, I'm kind of up. And so I bummed around on my phone for like 20 minutes. I was like, all right, well, screw this. I'm hungry. Time to get up and go to work. It's been an interesting kind of helter-skelter couple of days with all the things flying around. Either sirens flying down the road or helicopters flying overhead or blue jays.
Sorry to hear that you were going through that, but that's pretty funny.
So what have you been up to the last few weeks?
Not as much as I would like. Well, I shouldn't say not as much as I would like. I'm actually on vacation right now, so I'm actually fine with not having a ton to do. I've been looking for little pockets of time to actually relax. I think I mentioned previously, or I mentioned to you at least, we're in the midst of sort of switching the rooms around in our house in terms of who sleeps where, because my 2 kids slept in the same room since they were toddlers, basically. So we're now giving them the 2 main rooms, and my wife and I are moving down into the back room off the kitchen. So a little awkward for nice, but it's nice to give the boys, who are now adults, actual living space. So I've been having to do painting and moving things around, and the house is in a general state of disarray. Like I've recording right now, and I have a drying paint tray next to me that I had to step over to get to my desk. So things are all over the place. But yeah, so I haven't done a lot of, I guess, fun stuff for me. But one of the things I've been doing with my boys in the last little while is watching a TV show, which is called To Be Hero X. Sounds like a silly name, and I didn't even know what to make of it the first time I heard it, but it's an anime on Crunchyroll. I don't know if it's technically an anime because it's Chinese, I'm not even going to pretend
Right.
to try to remember what it's called, but it has its own sort of genre name. It's an anime style thing, but from out of China. So it's got a different name. But this ended up being it's far more interesting than I would have expected an anime to be. Like I'm constantly thinking about this show. It's dumb. I know it's a cartoon. And then every once in a while, one of my sons will go, "I wonder what they're gonna do here." And I know I was thinking about that earlier too. What are they gonna do with these two characters? But it's basically it's not entirely original in concept because it's got. I'm not sure if you've watched any shows like that have like hero rankings in them, like One Punch Man or
I've heard of them.
even The Boys to a degree. Like there's you've got Homelander who's number one, and the number two was like they basically have a, kind of their own ranking system. So it's not really new in that sense, but it's they have something called a trust value. So the higher trust value somebody has, or basically the more somebody believes in them, the more powerful of a hero they become, which is kind of interesting. But either way, without getting into it too much, because I feel like I could probably talk about it an obnoxious amount. It's what drew me to it is if you watch the trailer for it, it actually it switches animation styles throughout the trailer. It could be 3D animation, and then like with a snap of a finger, then it's 2D animation, and then the planes shift, and then things that were very realistic looking are suddenly rectangles and super abstract. And I thought, oh, this is a cool trailer. I wonder what the show's like. But they've got this animation style layered throughout the show, so it's not just the same style through all the episodes. It doesn't do it all the time, but it's like through certain story arcs, it actually changes animation styles based on whatever's happening at that time, if that makes sense. But it's yeah, that's it comes out every Sunday. We've been sometimes I'll wake up and one of my sons will walk sleepily into the room and they'll go, 3 more days. What's that? 3 more days to the next episode. All right, good to know. And so it's it's been, funnily top of mind for my boys and I, but it's really good. So it's on Crunchyroll. If you don't have the paid version, you're probably gonna have to deal with an obnoxious number of commercials, but I would recommend like checking out even episode 1 just to even see what it's about because stylistically, very, very cool.
Is it Donghua?
Ah, that
Is
sounds familiar.
maybe
Yeah,
a style of animation? I quickly Googled it while you were talking, and it's a Chinese Japanese co-production.
gotcha.
And the animation technique is the name Donghua, which is supposed to be about switching between 2D and 3D as a narrative element tied to the main character's powers, which is interesting.
Mhm.
It looks cool from this quick images that I saw on Google. I really wish that they would give these things better names.
I know you and I talked about that the other day. Yeah.
With all the crazy stuff that you're talking about and the visuals that I'm seeing in the stills on Google, this looks cool. But the name is dumb. And unless
Yep.
it's just missing something in translation, like if there's somebody out there that can say, well, actually, like in Chinese or Japanese or whatever, it actually means this. And so it's kind of like one of the things that suffers from translation, then sure, fine. Like if they have to be true to the Chinese or Japanese name, that's fine. But I do find that a lot of these have really dumb names. And
Yeah.
it's such a hard sell because like, oh, Joel, have you seen To Be Hero X? I'm just like, to be like TUBE or TOBE or two different words TOBE. Like I just without seeing it, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And also Hero X, like you've got this cool new hero and you just call him Hero X. Like just could you
Yeah.
come up with something else? Like just surely he has a name.
It sort of makes sense when you watch the show. I mean, I feel
Fair.
like they could have called the show Hero X because once you get into it, like they've got the rankings. Um, yeah, 1 to 10, the top hero, they actually refer to that position as
Oh,
Hero
so it's
X.
Hero 10, like Roman numeral 10, but they call it X.
You would think it's not even. It's like
Ugh.
rank 10 is actually rank 10, rank 1 is X. Like they've just given that, like, for whatever reason, it is the top position. So we're going to call top position X instead of 1.
Sure.
Yeah, like I don't want to, like, if anyone wants to go watch it, it sort of makes sense when you get to know a bit about the characters and stuff, but I
Mm.
100% agree. Like they could have easily just called this show Hero X, and it's still abstract and not super clear, but it's catchier as opposed to be hero. It's it sounds I agree. It's an odd title, but it's far more entertaining of an animation than I thought it was going to be.
Nice. No, that's cool.
Yeah. How about you? What have you been up to?
I've been spending some of my evenings playing Borderlands 3 on Xbox, which is an old title.
Oh,
It's
nice.
not a new thing, and it's not the first time I've played it. I've picked up my second playthrough, which is on the Xbox, about midway through, and had to like refamiliarize myself with everything. I mean, the controls came back pretty quick, but like the story and where I was and what I'm going to do next and all that kind of stuff. And I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's with the big TV and some just kind of chill. Borderlands is not something that requires a lot of thought. It's like, shoot them before they shoot you, and just make sure that you have the right guns that you want in your arsenal, and you're usually good. And I'm enjoying it. The first time I played was on stream when it first came out. I think it was when it first came out, or maybe it was on sale on Steam. Either way, I played as Zane, who's like an operative. So he has like a little drone that he can send in and attack the bad guys. And everybody can use any weapon. So you're not really classed in that way. Your special abilities are what you've chosen, but you can use any gun. If you like shotguns, you can use shotguns, like that kind of stuff. But then on the second playthrough, I've been using Flak, which is spelled FL4K. And he's a robotic hunter beastmaster. So he's like an android or a robot. And he controls little minions. So I'm using the Jabber, which is like a little cat gorilla alien. There's like a bug, and there's another thing called a Skag that you can use. Each of the different pets have different abilities. Like one is more of a healer, one is more of like a DPS, and the one that I use is a tank. So because I like to stand back and shoot stuff, I'm not much of a melee or up in your face first person shooter player. I prefer to be a little bit farther back. And so the Jabber will rush in and like with a shotgun and like get attention from a bunch of people and get attacked. And then I can kind of pick off the people that he's dealing with. The problem is that you can't control the Jabber so much. So you can direct him and say, attack that guy, but you can't say hang back. So the problem I have is like, as I'm moving through a level, the Jabber is like 100 paces in front of me, just like rushing into battle with these things. Like, I'm not ready yet. Like, I'm still looting the room. Could you just
save something for me?
You're a little excited, and it's also the Jabber's sounds and voice cues are a little bit repetitive. So it does get kind of annoying after a while. But that said, it is a really cool way to play because of the way that I like to play, which is to kind of hang back. And if you're not like a very good video game player, like I'm good, but I'm not like expert. And I find that with a little tank like a Jabber, it does really help when like some of the bigger bad guys get focused on him instead of you. And then so you can kind of like, you can circle around, and when the guy's got a great big shield and he's facing the Jabber, you can kind of get around him and shoot him in like the arm or the head or something like that and get him to drop his shield, and then you can unload on him. But otherwise, like some of these shields go from shin to forehead, and you're just like, well, I can't get at this guy until I can figure out how to get around him. And so that kind of stuff has been fun. I feel like I'm partially excited for Borderlands 4 because it's going to be new. It's coming out September 12th. And that's why I thought I'd return to Borderlands 3, because it's part of Game Pass for Borderlands 3. Borderlands 4, however, is $90 Canadian.
Man.
Brand new. So I don't know if I'm necessarily going to find that appealing. I thought it was going to be a $60 price point, at which point I thought, you know what? I would probably enjoy that enough to get $60 out of it because I can claim it and stream it and do all that kind of stuff for the community. But it's a big ask at $90, especially because Borderlands 4 has not been my favorite. I really enjoyed 1 and 2. 2 was really good. And 3 has just been like more of the same, but like not more the same in a good way. It's more the same with all the same problems. Like they didn't really address anything.
Right.
And unfortunately, because I'm a bit of a completionist, I have managed to get 1 or 2 really good guns. And I don't know where or how I got them, because it's been that long since like the first playthrough, like the first half of my playthrough. But I've got like a submachine gun that has like 130 damage. And that's really high. Like most of the ones that I'm picking up are like 50. Like it's 3 times what I'm normally able to do with most other guns. I think some of my most powerful sniper rifles are like 140. But that's a single shot. It's not a submachine gun. And it's also
a submachine gun at 130?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like it melts people. And I mean that literally. It one of its abilities is it's got corrosive damage. So like they end up with like this green goo from what looks like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that melts them. And I mean it, like they're a puddle on the floor afterwards. so it's satisfying, but at the same time, you're just like, well, if I have this and this is the way to win, and nothing I pick up is exciting because everything that's coming in is like 40, 56, 72. It's like, it's 130 with the biggest magazine in your arsenal. So it's like, it really is kind of like a make win button, which is kind of crappy because it takes the excitement out of the rest of the game. Most of what Borderlands is about, it's a looter shooter. So like, there are guns everywhere and they're all different. They're all random. Like, it's some of them are like, some of the legendaries I think are designed, but like some of the substats are random. So really, like, you and I could play the game and never once come across the exact same gun.
That's pretty cool, though.
It is really cool. Like, it's kind of like that what's under the next rock kind of thing, what's around the next corner. And so that's really satisfying when you get to a point where your inventory is big enough where you can actually pick up some stuff, because nothing drives you crazier than wanting to take home the 6 good guns and you've got room for 1. And you're just like, well, crap. They do have a system in Borderlands 3 where you get like your spoils from a boss fight. So if you don't have enough inventory space to pick it all up, then back on the ship, which is your home base, it'll be in like a storage locker for you. So like somebody else picked it up or they got beamed back to the ship or something. So just because you couldn't bring them with you doesn't mean that you've left them behind. But that's only on the boss fights, I think. And I find that even now when I beat a pretty hard boss, the drop that it gives me is like, this is a handgun that does 45 damage. It's like, even with the special abilities, it doesn't compare to this submachine gun that just melts face. So it has been a little bit repetitive, but sometimes that's good because when I'm playing at night after a long workday, I'm just kind of like, I just need to turn my brain off and just, if it moves, shoot it. And I've had some fun. And it's a really colorful story. Like, I'm in the swamp right now and everybody's got like this southern accent. Like a lot of the NPCs are very Kentucky, Georgia-esque in terms of their accents, and it all is very like backwoods kind of mountain people sort of vibes. And the bad guys are even worse. Like, they're just vulgar and crazy and will run at you shouting about turning your colon into a hat and just stuff like that. It's just, it really makes you want to shoot them in the face, which is what the game is all about. So I've been enjoying it for the most part. It's a little duller than I wanted it to be, I think, is the only real complaint. I didn't get very far the first time I played it, so I wanted to give it another go. So I am very curious about Borderlands 4. It's coming out September 12th. You can wishlist it or pre-purchase it on Steam right now or other platforms, but there are new Vault Hunters, so there's 4 new characters with different abilities that you can be. There's like a sharpshooter, which is probably what I would gravitate towards. I do like the way that the Borderlands teams writes robotic characters. They usually have a really good sense of humor, and so I'm gravitating towards that. But again, like, the price point for me right now is kind of high. It's a little up there for what it is. And so I might wait for some reviews to come out before I make a decision. And sometimes those reviews could be like, before it's released. Some people have like early access for review. So I'll have to see. But I've got a couple of people that I follow on stream right now. Co-Carnage is someone I've been following for a while. And if he plays it and likes it, then I'm just like, okay, yeah, I can get behind this, because he's been playing Battlefield 6, 5. I can't remember what the new one is. And he's really enjoying that. And that looked really cool. And that's actually what got me into Borderlands again, because I was watching him do a first-person shooter, and the more I watched, it's like, I really got the itch. I really want to dive into something right now. So that's what I've been doing. And like I said, it has been fun. It's very colorful. It's very over the top. It's not a World War II realistic shooter or like Battlefield type modern warfare. It's all like aliens and things with 4 heads, and it's very cartoony too. It's you talk about animation styles. It's like it's got that cell shaded look. So like, it's 3D
nice.
CG, but everything's got that black line around it, and it's all like over the top comic booky type stuff, I would say.
I know you're not really getting the surprise factor of playing it through for the first time, but do you find you're enjoying the second time through more, or is it still kind of just?
Yeah, I'm a lot farther than I was the first time. The first time I played it on PC, I got that far quite quickly on Xbox again, and that's about where I ended up falling off.
Oh, so you didn't finish it first time around?
No, I didn't finish it the first time or the second time.
Gotcha.
So the second time I stopped a little bit farther than where I was. And then this time I picked up kind of like where I was, pushed through that boring part, and then I went on to new things. And so the new stuff has been okay. It's all new, so it's been enjoyable. But it's not like knocking my socks off like Borderlands 2 did. Like Borderlands 2 really took the original concept and pushed it. And this is just like,
Right.
again, more of the same, just longer. Borderlands has always done this, but they always put driving missions into the game. And it's not a good driving game. Like it's not a driving game. It's a first person shooter. Right? So
Yeah.
you're like, why am I traveling around on a very difficult to control buggy that shoots exploding barrels when I really just want to be shooting stuff? And so ultimately on that shooting level, because I had like gotten quite high in my level, I jumped out of the car and just started shooting people with the guns that I had. And it worked fine. Like I really don't like the driving, mechanics in the game. And I don't like being forced to it. Later on, you get like fast travel. And then so you don't have to drive to different locations on a map. You can just fast travel between one and the other.
Right.
But any kind of mission where it's like you have to drive and avoid other vehicles and then kill the other vehicles, I hate it. It's really not my favorite thing because I don't feel like they do it very well. If it was better, or if that was the whole game, then sure. But it's not my favorite. But yeah, overall, like I mean, all the story twists and things are fine. And some of the animation and the lip syncing stuff is really off though. So I don't know whether that's just I've got a bum patch or something, but I would expect a lot better from Borderlands 4, and if it's more the same, I would be very disappointed. I do find it very odd that it's been years of me complaining about like bad lip syncing and bad acting, physical acting in video games for years now, and they just don't seem to ever bother to fix it, and I don't understand because it's not hard. Like it's just like when the character stops speaking, stop them from moving. If they keep on making hand gestures after they've stopped talking, it just looks shit. Like it just looks like amateur crap. And I don't understand why studios continue to do it. It's like, I know that there's like an automated animation. Like I know that not everything is hand animated unless it's a cutscene, but like just stop the automation. If the voice acting is done, then just stop the character from like moving their hands around and maybe moving their mouth. Like it's really basic stuff. So anyway, we'll see what happens with Borderlands 4. But I mean, for the sake that Borderlands 3 is part of Game Pass, if you already have Game Pass, like absolutely load it up. Like it's a hoot, especially if you've not played these before. You don't need to have played the other ones to know what's going on. They kind of give you the lowdown.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, they give you the lowdown pretty straightforward. You're a vault hunter. You're trying to open vaults and get loot. Like you're basically a pirate. It's really straightforward. And it's the flavor though is really fun. And for anybody that's never played them or never seen them played, they are very funny. Definitely a mature audience game. Like you do not want to be playing this with small children around. Some of the innuendos and violence is just like over the top. It's a bit much. There's a lot of squishing, and we'll just leave it at that.
We often watch shows with the subtitles on, and one of our favorite sound descriptions at the bottom is squelching.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that
probably
happens.
along those lines.
That happens a lot. Okay, this gun that I have that melts people. When you're done with the magazine, instead of reloading it, you throw it, and then it explodes either on someone, or if it doesn't hit anyone, it turns into a brain with spider legs that then proceeds to run around the battlefield and maim people. And then you materialize a new gun in your hand that's fully loaded. Most other weapons just reload. Like you take a magazine out and you reload it. It works like what you'd expect. But special weapons have like weird special abilities. And that like, so it's literally out of like Ninja Turtle comic book vibes, like with the brain on a spider body. Like it's just, you can't make this stuff
overpowered on top of overpowered.
Yeah. And it talks. Roaming around the battlefield like, give me something to kill. You're just like, oh my god. It's a 12-year-old's wet dream is really what Borderlands always has been.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is a good time. I've played all three of them, so I do have like some nitpicks with it, but overall it's a bit wild. Moving into the main discussion, we're going to be talking about two films. The first we actually saw at the beginning of the month, and we had planned to record a lot closer to this, but our schedules got away from us. But also, I think, as you'll find over the course of the review, it was good, but it's not something that I've spent much time thinking about since. And it's Fantastic Four First Steps. I remember liking it. I don't remember having many complaints about it. I think we might have had a couple of little digs in the car ride home when we were talking, but like most of it was really good. I
Yeah.
don't want to speak for you, but for me, I think its greatest strength was the production design. The retro 60s future of the alternate Earth, I thought was like spot on. I really enjoyed everything from like, I want their kitchen to the cars and like the way that there's like a monorail through the city. And it's supposed to be Earth in New York, which is it's this alternate Earth. I think it's 808. It's Jack Kirby's birthday, whatever that is. That's the August 28th, something like that. So 828, I think.
That's a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah, I thought so too. They really do a lot for the world building and the production design, and they throw you right into it. There's not a big origin story. So like I liked that part of it. Like I felt like they kind of threw you in there, and it could have gone very poorly if they hadn't built everything up so seamlessly. How did you feel about it? Because it's very different from every other Marvel movie that we've seen.
I really enjoyed it. It left me wondering the entire time how they're going to fit this into the rest of the Marvel universe. But I mean, as you said, it's Earth, whatever it is, 828. So you kind of get a sense that it's going to just it's a different timeline, which they don't seem to often do a ton, like spend time in an alternate timeline. It's usually the main one, and then they've, if I'm remembering correctly, and it's been a while, but I don't think that many of them actually take place in a different universe completely. Yeah, I'm just trying to think back now. I'm not sure if there is.
I don't think so.
I'm probably wrong, but I don't think there's another one that actually takes place fully in.
No, I think it gets confusing because then you've got stuff like WandaVision, and then you've got the Doctor Strange stuff in What If.
Mm-hmm.
The What If stuff goes into alternate universes all the time.
Right.
I think you're right. I don't think there's any other films that do alternate universe. I don't know if that came across in Thor at all. If there was one, it would be Thor, I would imagine, because that's the one that's the most kind of like sci-fi out there.
Right. Yeah, but overall, stylistically, I think it's excellent. And one of the things that I do like about I was trying to think of a way to word this earlier, but it's basically, they are the heroes in the show, but they are the heroes in that land as well. So they've got their own cartoon, they've got their own cereal, they've got their own, like, all of the different paraphernalia that would go along with, or the merch that would go along with actual superheroes. And I think it's pretty neat how they're all, it's got this really cool futuristic retro vibe for everything, but then the retro style cartoons, the retro style merch, it's just, I feel like they did a really good job of just interweaving everything together to make you, I guess, make that era or that style come to life. So I really enjoyed it. I thought the vehicles were really slick. I find it interesting though that they've got old looking retro tech, but then, these ships that have the ability of going or folding space or going light speed or space jumping or whatever. So it's got this interesting juxtaposition, but I think, yeah, stylistically very cool. Absolutely.
I would say like it's future tech, but retro design.
Fair enough.
Right. Like it might be an MP3 player or a digital communication device, but it's designed like a radio from the 60s. Like it looks like that, but it works with high tech stuff. Like even the little teleporter device that Reed Richards was playing with in his lab, that teleports like a potato or an egg or something from one point of the lab to the other. It looks like a weird Lazy Susan.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have a lot of lights on it. It doesn't it just looks like a plate. And like it looks like dinnerware because it's everything is supposed to also look nice as well as function. Whereas like if you had that in like our world, it would probably look like a 3D printer, like a weird technical plate with a box around it, and a bunch of doodads flying around. Like it would be a little bit less designy, I guess is the way to say it. And yeah, so like the cars have got that old look to it, but then they fly, or there's like a jetpack in them or something like that. And I liked that. I thought it was all really, really well done. And some level, I think a lot of the characters spoke like that too. Like there wasn't anything like G Willikers or anything like that from the 60s, no. But there was a fair amount of that level of community, I guess. Like when Ben Grimm is walking down the street in his trench coat and his hat, and like the neighborhood kids are like shouting at him to lift the car or something like that. It's the kind of thing that you would expect from kids in the 50s if they saw a baseball player from the Yankees walking down the street.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, can you sign my ball? Like that kind of stuff. And they're just, hey, mister, you know, like that kind of thing. And so I like that vibe. I don't remember, you might be able to remember, but were there any cell phones in it? They had wristwatches that had communication in them, but I don't remember any cell phones. So because of that, it simplifies the plot. It simplifies the way that characters have to talk to one another. People are not in cafes just on their phones. People are actually interacting with one another in public because they have to. They're not on devices. And so that kind of stuff I thought was interesting and cool and refreshing. Thought of another movie, Deadpool and Wolverine is one that crosses over universes.
True. Yeah, that's actually a different timeline.
Timelines? I don't know if they cross. Like, they go different timelines, but does that necessarily mean different Earths? Like, this is the problem that Marvel has right now, is that they're talking about different versions of reality with like the Spider-Verse and stuff, but then they're also talking about different timelines, and they both do the same thing in a different way, and so it's confusing. But yeah, I think Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the movies that crossed over, and the only other thing that I can think of that's Marvel related would be Spider-Verse, but that's a Sony picture. That's not part of the canon.
Right.
Well, I guess they did that in No Way Home. Like the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they came from different universes, right?
Right, but that movie took place in the main timeline. And I guess that's like my way I was looking at it is that took place in the main timeline, but it had characters and events brought in from other timelines. But you're right though, the Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I don't think Deadpool or any of the mutants are from the main timeline.
No, not that I can tell.
As far as I know. So I think that's going to be like the merging of worlds when it happens.
The Marvels did it at the end. I can't remember her name.
Right.
Captain Marvel's bestie there. She goes through and she ends up in Beast. Rambo. Yeah, I think you're right. They changed
it was Rambo's
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. They send her to Beast's lab in the X Mansion in the Professor X's X-Men. And it's Kelsey Grammer as like a CG Beast.
Right. So the older generation X-Men. So it's not the new one, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, because First Class is a prequel. It's so complicated. Like, I feel bad for anybody that wants to get into these movies now, because like there's like 40 films plus like TV shows, and like it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of keep straight. But yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to do it either. I mean, I guess the thing is like the feature tech in this Earth with the Fantastic Four is so ahead of what we have in our current timeline that we can't get to them. They have to come to us. And so at the end of the Thunderbolts, that's where we saw them come through, right?
Right. Just to go back to what you said previously, I agree with you that I liked it and quite enjoyed it, but I haven't given it necessarily a ton of thought since.
And I don't know whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, fair enough. It's funny, I've been thinking about Superman more, but because it's more that it's in my head because it annoyed me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if anything, it annoys me that
lots of people like it.
Fantastic Four and Superman have the same rating on IMDb, where I feel like Superman in my mind is far worse. I was like having like mini rant to my wife earlier. She's like, I'll probably still watch it when it comes on. I'm like, that's fine. I'll probably watch it with you.
Yeah.
But and I might like it a bit more because I'll just let go all of the things I didn't like. It was sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy the first time I watched it through, or Guardians of the Galaxy 2. First time I watched it through, I kind of hated it. But then the second time I watched it through, I knew the bits I hated and just decided to let those go. And so then the little bits that I enjoyed came to the surface a little bit more. So it's possible things like, Superman himself and the performance of Lex Luthor and other things that I really enjoyed may come to the surface a little bit more the second time I watch it. But yeah. So it came up in conversation today. I was thinking about it today, but it was only in contrast to how much I disliked Superman.
This is a complete aside, but I've been watching some reviews and some reactions to some of the people that I follow online reacting to Superman because it had a very short theatrical run and now it's on home video. there's a lot of people that really like it. I've seen some division, like I've seen some people not like it, but very few. And I find that it's frustrating when they're watching it and they're also just like loving every minute of it. It's like, but surely you don't see the plot holes, like you don't see the issues here.
Oh my goodness.
And it's really difficult because I'm trying to, I want to have like my opinion validated somehow. I hear that some people don't like it, but I'm not seeing anyone don't like it. Like I'm not seeing anyone say like this was terrible. But the thing that I find that I picked up on it that I don't think I mentioned the last time on the show was that I really dislike how they baby Superman. So much of his time in the fortress, he's in like a reclining dentist's chair with these robots like tending to him as he like watches something on video to soothe him. Like, is he not an adult? Can he not self-soothe? Like, just grow a pair. Like, it undermines everything all the time. The movie just kind of completely cuts the rug out from itself constantly. And the more that I see these clips of people, because of course the editing of the clips that they're reviewing, it's not the whole movie, it's like bits. And so they choose the bits that they thought were important, but those aren't necessarily the bits that I would choose. And then, so you're focusing on some other stuff and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot I disliked this part too. When I was so focused on like the thing that happened 5 minutes before, I probably wasn't thinking about the thing that happened now. Anyway, yeah, it's tricky. And you and I went to go see this about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks after we saw Superman.
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks.
So this was the next theater experience we had and the next superhero movie experience that we had. And I remember looking at you and going like, well, that was a good story. Like it was complete. Like that was a much better film than Superman. So, I mean, you and I kind of went in with low bars, right?
Yeah, but even the jokes that they told in it weren't like bang you over the head gun style, where it's like, there's a joke coming, it's going to be funny. It was more like organic banter between four people who clearly have known each other for a really long time and making fun of each other for their appearances in cartoon shows like Say the Line Now.
I will say that on top of the art direction and stuff for Fantastic Four, I really liked the story. I thought it was decent. I thought it was straightforward. Despite the fact that we are on a separate Earth and that there is like an extraterrestrial threat, it was still not complicated. Like, there is a bad thing coming. There's apparently nothing we can do except for the Fantastic Four are going to try to figure out what they could do, and that's what they try to do. And they really keep the tension, and they do, I would say, almost to a fault. They move things along quite quickly. There's no origin story.
Yeah.
It was given in the form of a TV show intro, which I thought was cool. And so the host of the show just kind of introduces the Fantastic Four to his audience. Like, they need no introduction, but in case you've been under a rock for 40 years, like, this is who they are. And you're just like, great, now the audience in the theater knows exactly what's going on. And so that kind of stuff was fine. Because I think at this point, they're trying not to, like, pretend that most of the audience isn't already comic fans and familiar with these characters.
Yeah, it could be because that there were two other Fantastic Four movies in the past decade and a half that didn't really do super well, so they just skip all that and get to it.
Yeah, no, that's also true. I forgot about that. It goes to show how good they were. But yeah, I did find that despite the quick start, the pacing was a little bit fast. Like I did find that it kind of jumped from one thing to the next. And spoilers, folks, for people that are watching or listening at home. Sue Storm is pregnant. I think that's even in the trailer, actually. But she has the baby in the film, and it happens soon. Like, it happens mid-film, like Act 2, I think is when the baby is born. And so that kind of passage of time wasn't necessarily clear for me. I know that Reed spends quite a bit of time trying to figure out what to do about Galactus, but it doesn't strike me as like he spends months in his lab. So, so that part was a little bit not forced, but like it was fast. It was just the pacing was a little bit fast. But then you combine that with one of the things that I did find was an issue in terms of pacing was the end. I felt like a lot of the end was just like the same sort of chase scene over and over again as Galactus went through the city. And eventually they're trying to bait him with the baby. Sue Storm protects the baby, but ends up exerting so much energy that she looks like she's going to die. They really paint her as expired. But also you're kind of sitting there going like, it's the Fantastic Four. It's like a linchpin of Marvel comics. Like they're not killing Sue Storm in the first movie. And because you know that, they kind of hang on this scene like, is she dead? And everybody's over her being really sad for a really long time. And it's like, okay, so because we've been here for this long, we know she's alive. Could you just get on with it? And then they follow that up with probably the worst CG scene in the whole film, which was Reed Richards pushing or handing the baby over to Sue's chest, and the baby uses some sort of innate power to revive her, I guess. And like, it was just like rubber Gumby terrible. And I feel bad for whoever special effects artist was working on it, but just like, there would have been much better ways to do it, I think, with even old camera tricks. Like, you don't even have to do necessarily a full body shot of all of them. You could have just like cut to a close-up of the kid with somebody really holding a kid. You know, it really did not need to be that convoluted. And so but I don't know what kind of reshoots were happening. I don't remember when this was filmed, during the strike or during COVID. Like, there's just so many times when like it could have been interrupted, and I don't know what the real situation was. And you don't know how hard these effects artists are pushed either, but still, like, somebody looked at that and said, yes.
You watched that on a low-res screen, didn't you?
A phone, maybe an Apple Watch. Maybe that's what they want.
It was really too bad because I didn't love everything about that show or the movie, but every time the baby was being held in a scene where it needed to do something, or it was being held by Ben the Thing, it was just poor. Like, it was fuzzy around the baby. It was clearly not sitting in Ben's arm, no matter how many times Ben was shown holding it, which was just a weird choice, because if the special effect wasn't working, why would you have this one specific character holding the baby probably more than anyone else in the movie? Like, maybe because they wanted the juxtaposition between big stone hulking guy and tiny soft baby, but it didn't work. It was just, and it annoyed me that they kept doing it.
Yeah, I understood what they're trying to do. Like, they're trying to show that Ben is a sensitive individual, but yeah, it did kind of take me out of it. It did, like, it felt very cartoony, right? Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, I thought overall though, Ben looked good. Like, there were very few moments that I ever questioned Ben really being there, really touching things. A lot of that was the sound design too. Like, when he would move or touch something, you'd hear like rocks moving together. You know, like when his finger, like when he twiddled his fingers or goes to do something intricate with like the control of a ship, or in the kitchen when he's trying to like stick his finger in like a pot of sauce or something, tomato sauce. And it's just like, you can hear like rock on metal. Like, it's very well done in that regard. And his eyes too, like, he's got these great big rocky brows and big cheekbones and a big nose, but like the eyes look real. And I kind of wonder whether like they modeled, you know, his eyes and did. I mean, obviously there was some motion capture and probably facial capture of oh gosh, what's his name? Eben Moss Backrack plays Ben Grimm. I feel like they sort of like took a lot of inspiration from like his eyes, because it just looks so genuine. It doesn't look like a voice actor with an animator acting on top of it. It looks a lot more raw, which I thought was great, because like, again, like, you just don't question it.
Speaking of the motion capture, I'd be curious to see if his performance was actually fully recorded, because like when you were talking about dipping his hand in the sauce, it was in the trailer, but then he does that hand gesture, like, just want to give it a bit of zing. He's got it's a really sort of natural hand gestures. That would have been cool to see if that was actually from him, or whether they just decided to put it in afterwards.
I would say probably from him. A lot of that is just really well done, so it helps. And I mean, you can translate that even to Galactus. Like, I thought Galactus was really good too. Like that. I mean, obviously entirely CG, but still, you know, they made it sort of look like the voice actor, which is Ralph Ineson, who was a fantastic choice for that. And
yeah, good voice.
Yeah, oh, so good. I mean, obviously they do a little bit of, you know, post-production on it for Galactus, but he has a really deep voice anyway. That was great. But even having Galactus look a little bit like him, it's just nice for the actors that are playing these like larger than life parts. It's like Thanos looking just a little bit like Josh Brolin, like not a lot, but enough that you're like, oh yeah, that tracks. Yeah. When I realize who voiced him, like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like giving the actor credit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Which I'd imagine also helps with like the motion capture of like the shape of the face of the animated character is also very similar to the shape of the face of the actor that has dots all over it, right? It probably helps.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to make up a character, it already exists.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that a lot of that was good, and I liked the space effects and like the drama, the threats. It all felt pretty real. I think the only thing that got me a little squiggly was like some of the other scenes outside of the baby. It would have been like Johnny Storm and Silver Surfer. Some of those were a little bit rubbery, or a little bit just like green screeny. Green screeny would be a really good example. I think that he was flying over like lava or molten metal or something like that, and it really just did not feel at all like he was there. But it was also a pretty extraterrestrial scene, so like that kind of tracks, like, because that would have been done on a soundstage where nothing existed. Like that probably would have just a lot of green nothing probably happening around. So and this is speaking of Johnny, this is a really small nitpick, because I really enjoyed most of the acting from Johnny, Joseph Quinn, and I liked the writing for him. I liked the way that he wasn't just a bimbo. Like they make him out as a bit of a ladies' man at first, but then he's a ladies' man that can't get a lady. So he's like seen as a ladies' man, but he's not that confident, so he doesn't actually have a girlfriend. And then he has like a crush on the Silver Surfer, but then at the end of the movie, he sacrifices himself, or he tries to. And I thought that was really good, because it really gave him like a selfless. He's not like a bro, which is that a lot of the time what I've seen Johnny Storm be, and I thought that was really good. But I know that Joseph Quinn is not like naturally that blonde, and I don't think Johnny Storm needed to be that blonde. It just looked fake. It just looked fake the whole time, and it was so distracting. It's like why can't Johnny Storm just have whatever hair color that actor has? Like, just let it go. It's fine. I don't know why we had to make him blonde, because it just felt so plastic and fake, and it took me out of the scenes so often, because I was just kind of like, oh, that's really interesting. God, the hair looks stupid. I couldn't get past it. Just couldn't get past it.
That's funny. For me, the only thing I think that it was a shame that it was near the end, but the thing that kind of threw me, I guess I disliked it the most, was how Johnny Storm, spoiler alert for anybody who doesn't want the final ending spoiled, but essentially he sort of figured out the language. He just didn't come across as somebody who'd be able to decipher a language and then be able to speak it to someone in a clear way, in concise way, that would have saved the day. And it felt like that would have been something that Reed Richards would have been able to pull off. But it just felt, I don't know, maybe he would have been fully capable of that, but just given how he was presented in the movie, he didn't come across as not smart enough to decipher a language. Smart person, but not linguistically smart person.
Yeah, they give you the idea via just exposition that he's one of them. They're all scientists, but his interactions with Reed in the lab really make him feel like he's in the way. And he feels his attitude is more like a bumbling. He's not a bumbling idiot, but he definitely gives that vibe in their circles. So like if they're all like super smart scientists, he's the dumbest super smart scientist of the four of them. Like that's kind of how they paint it.
He's the dumbest genius of all of them.
Yeah, I don't know if they really do a good job in anything else in the movie, because again, it's so fast. You don't get any character development for Johnny as much as you do others. But actually, you don't get very much character development for Ben Grimm either. A little bit more, but well, I say like you get probably the same amount, but Ben's character development is all soft and emotional, and
it's all sad.
Yeah, and Johnny's development is all boisterous and like you said, kind of bumbling a bit. So like it's not as revealing. It feels very much like a front, and I think they don't give you the under the hood. Like it would have been really cool if they had given him like, I don't know, if he had really been into music, if they had spent more time as him basically being like, a musician / mathematician or something. So then it would have made sense that he figured out the language, because he's got that ear, right? But they don't really do that. So I still would highly recommend it. I think people, I don't think it's still in theaters, but I would still say this is a watch on streaming when it gets there. I think if you like Marvel movies in general, this is one of the better ones. It's just very different. And so if you go in there like that with an open mind, I think you'll enjoy it.
And if you're planning on watching Superman and Fantastic Four, be curious to find out what your thoughts are on both of them and where you landed. But
Are they both a 7.3 or whatever they are on IMDb for
Yeah.
you? Because we would want to know. I'm curious for anybody that wants to write in. We haven't heard from anybody about Superman, but I'm definitely curious to see. Now that it's wider released on home video,
Right.
I'm curious whether anybody has seen it and they share our thoughts from last episode. Moving on to something a lot more pleasant and a lot more colorful. I watched, after your recommendation, as well as other recommendations from the boys around the Third Thursday pub group, K-pop Demon Hunters. And I had this on my list already because Robin and I have been watching Kdramas. We've been currently going through Business Proposal. We've got one more episode left. And I really liked it. And I wasn't expecting to. I thought, well, I'll watch this and I'll probably like it because Robin likes it and that I know she'll be having a good time. So therefore I will have a good time. But I genuinely enjoyed it. And so then when K-pop Demon Hunters showed up on Netflix, I was like, you might like this. I just laughed. I took a photo of it on the screen and I sent it to Robin. She's like, I'm bookmarking this. We should probably watch this sometime. And she was like, haha, actually, what is it? What even is that? It's like, I don't know, but I just thought it was funny. Well, fast forward a week later to Robin saying, we must watch this weekend. Not that she'd seen anything from it. She's just been listening to the soundtrack on repeat in her car all week long. So immediately we queued it up that weekend because it also had high recommendations from Peyton, who's an animator from You. I think somebody else at the table said it was good. Did Voucher say that he had seen it? Like, no, he didn't see it. We were trying to recommend it to him last week. Anyway, it's really, really fun. I was very pleasantly surprised. I knew kind of from the trailer what it might be. I thought it might have some good jokes and some light humor and a little bit of action and stuff, but I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. The balance of the film between musical numbers for killing demons and the character development, the love story / it's not even a love story, it's more like a redemption story, is all really well threaded. Like the moment that you're like, whoa, that was intense, you're onto like, oh, this is really poignant and this seems really important, and then funny part, and then like rinse and repeat, and it just happens over and over and over again. I was watching the Blind Wave guys react to it, and Eric had said that the gag per minute ratio in the film is just astronomical. And I was watching stuff that I did not catch in the first viewing on the review on Blind Wave, thinking like, this is just like, there's so much in this film. I was laughing and I missed stuff because I was laughing at the first joke. Like there's a lot in there that I really, really enjoyed. You had seen it before I did. So how did it come to you? How did you get recommended? Was it just Netflix? It's just like, you might like this?
Yeah, it was, you might like this. I mean, I watch a fair bit of Korean drama and Korean shows on my own because, I mean, as I've mentioned on the show before, I've been taking Korean lessons. I've got books and stuff and just find it fascinating. And so when it came up as a recommendation, I thought, I don't really listen to K-pop. I don't go out of my way to listen to K-pop though. Like if some of the songs come on, like I like Blackpink, but it's not a genre that I just feel like I need to devour all the time. So at first when it came up, K-pop Demon Hunters, I was a little bit eye-rolly. Like, all right, well, maybe I'll give it a go. But then I saw the trailer for it, and man, the animation style in this, and the expressions they have on the characters, and the voice acting, even in just the trailer, had me laughing. And then I showed it to my boys, had them laughing. I'm like, okay. And then we found out it was I'm probably going to mess this up, but by the same studio or the same production company that did Spider-Man Spider-Verse, and we loved that. We've probably seen it 3 or 4 times now. So like just all of these little things that sort of presented it on this nice little platter that said, Netflix said you'd probably like this, but we're pretty sure you're going to really like this. And it was, and it did this thing with the trailer. Like it seems like a couple of movies have done this for me in the last little while, and thank you, trailer powers that be, or whatever you wish to be called. But they basically showed the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie was in the trailer, and then there's so many other interesting things like different threads and events that happen throughout that weren't even on our radar. Like it just a number of surprises throughout, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it because it was thoroughly enjoyable through and through. So it was presented to me by Netflix, but just the trailer sold me on it, and then the animation style. the characters' facial expressions in the trailer are fantastic.
Yeah, this would be a really good example of like CG but anime, or at least anime inspired, because of the way that
Yes.
they pop the characters into really exaggerated expressions. I don't know if there's any real true 2D expressions. I think maybe once or twice for something extreme, maybe from Zoe, because Zoe's my favorite. Zoe I find very, very funny. But they really nail the exaggeration, and because of that,
Yeah.
because it doesn't take itself, I mean, the title alone is pretty ridiculous, right? So all of this,
Yeah.
like, already you're kind of on board for like, this is going to be a wild ride. But then they set it up really quite well, and then no spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I think people should really go watch it. uh the the premise is that demons are held at bay by song, and so throughout millennia there's been minstrels and minstrel warriors that have kept the demons at bay. Fast forward to 2025, and it's a K-pop group, because like, well, why wouldn't it be,
Mhm.
right? That's what the
Yeah.
minstrels look like now. And then they masquerade when they're not on stage being mega pop stars as demon hunters, and they've got swords and blades and daggers and skills and combat and fighting and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't know whether they have any supernatural powers, but they absolutely seem to be able to do all kinds of things, like jumping out of planes with no parachutes. So there's a certain level of like suspension of disbelief that is very easily achieved, because again, the movie just doesn't take itself too seriously. There's just constant
No.
gags and digs at pop culture, at K-pop, at boy bands, at girl bands, at fandoms of both.
Oh yeah, fickle fandom. Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh, like it's just ridiculous. And then there's a whole bunch of other tropes, and a lot of other Easter eggs too. I think like if you're a Korean drama fan, if you are into Korean culture or know more about K-pop than we do, there's probably a lot more Easter eggs and things in the film for you than there would be for us. Even I caught the intro song to Business Proposal playing like casually in the background at like a mall scene or
Oh, I
something like
did
that.
not catch that.
Yeah, I was just like, hey,
Oh, shame on
that's
me.
the intro
Shame
to
on me.
Business Proposal. Well, like we're watching it right now, so like we recently watched an episode like a week or two before watching this, so like that tracks, right? Anyway, it was really well done in that way.
That's funny.
And the voice acting is really good too. I thought the acting, because there's some moments in the movie where there needs to be some serious conversations. I think Rumi is probably the one that has the most kind of serious voice acting with Genu. And Genu, the voice actor for Geno is on Hyo Sup. I hope I'm saying that right. And he's the main guy from Business Proposal. Like that's he's the lead dude. And so it's funny because of course I'm used to hearing him speak Korean, so I didn't recognize his voice because something sounded familiar. Like I'm sure I've heard this person before. It sounds very melodic and familiar, but of course he's not speaking English in Business Proposal except for one scene in New York.
It surprised me that he could actually. I shouldn't say that in the sense of sounding super ignorant, because it's not very common when in the shows that I've seen, when the Korean actor speaks English, that it's as good as it is.
Yes,
but he's actually a Canadian Korean, so he lived in Canada from age 7 to 17, so it totally makes sense. And so in his show, he's a well-educated person as well, so it makes sense. But it's
nice. One of the directors is Canadian too, Maggie Kang. She's
nice.
from Toronto. Yeah, it's just such a fun film, and there is some like emotional payoff to it, and not in the way that you'd expect too. I like that there was a bit of a twist, and I won't reveal anything, but it did not go exactly as you thought it might go. But if I was to pitch this to somebody and say, they're like, well, what is it? Like, that's okay. It's like Frozen, but instead of Broadway solo musical, it's K-pop meets Spider-Verse, because the animation, as you said, is that punchy on-twos action fighting. Like there's some magic in Frozen, but there's not a lot of fist fights. This is like there's fist fights all the time with like energy weapons and stuff. Like it's very, very cool. But I didn't catch this myself, which I'm surprised. But I did read that the punchy animation is on twos for most of the people in the film. And for folks that don't know, say animation these days for video is like 30 frames a second. Well, you'd be getting 15 frames a second for the poses and the keyframes for the animated characters that are on twos. The Soja Boys were animated on ones to look smoother and a little creepier and contrast the Huntress trio. Isn't that neat?
It's kind of neat because they did a similar thing in Into the Spider-Verse as well, where Miles Morales was on twos, while Peter Parker was on ones because he was familiar with being Spider-Man, so he had the skills. He was there. Had been in the role for a while, and then when Miles Morales gets to the point where he's got sufficient skills, he's on one suddenly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that on that film.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's on ones all the time, but there's a couple of points when he's Spider-Man where yeah.
And any slow motion stuff, they'd have to do that because otherwise it would just look terrible. Thought the voice acting was great. I've since watched a couple of interviews with the trio, Arden Cho, Mei Hong, and Ji Young Hu, who voiced the three Huntress girls, and they are just as charming and fun as actors talking about the film as they were as their characters in the film. Arden Cho is adorable. She is very charismatic. She's a really, really fun individual. And they all, what I like so much about them is like they're just also humble. Like they are aware of what they brought to the film, but they're also just so happy to have been a part of it. And so much of it is the music and the writing. And of course, the three girls have different singing voices than they do the actors that are voicing the drama scenes. So there's really two people involved in every singer, I think, in the show. But anyway, it's really, really well done. The music, of course, we can't move on without mentioning it, is not something I'm necessarily going to have on my playlist going on all the time, but I'm also not skipping it if it comes up on social media. If there's a clip from it playing, like it's a good bop. Like it just, and I remember when I went out with Robin, we went out for dinner before we watched the movie, and she just said, "I'm so sorry, but this is going to be on the entire time we're in the car." I'm just like, "It's fine. Like it's good. I'm fine with it. Like it's a good song, Like we weren't listening to it on repeat on a 4-hour road trip, but like it was not immediately like, please turn this crap off. Like it had some interesting layers to it, and I think seeing it with the expression of the characters in the film, how these songs fit into the story, how they actually express things about the character that's singing them, I like them even more than I would have if I just listened to them as like a pop song. So yeah, it's I think it's on the repeat playlist of a lot of folks out there right now. I spoke with my sister and I said, like, have you watched K-Pop Demon Hunters? You really, really should. And Andrea was just kind of like, no, I haven't, but she has, and she loved it. It's like, okay, good. As long as she's watched it, then I think that you're good. But because my sister grew up in the same sort of era of like, New Kids on the Block and NSYNC and stuff like that, she would just really get all the jokes and all the tropes and all that kind of stuff. She likes Disney, she likes animation, that kind of thing. So I think it would be up her alley as well. Moving on to the Internet Minute, the Citadel Cafe is 100% listener supported. If you're getting value out of the show, please consider putting a little bit of value back in. You can become a member at patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. Joining at any level will get you an invite to the member-only Discord server that is shared with my personal Discord, and access to the Barista Cut bonus audio sessions. Those are all archived on the Patreon page. So if you are a member, then you can go back and listen to any of those. And they're just little extra conversations that I've had over the years with different guests. And we like to think they're pretty fun. They're short. They're like, 15, 20 minutes sometimes. But they're all there if you want to check it out. So that's patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. Special thanks to our Bean Counter patrons, EclipseRM and Smurf588. Thank you ever so much for your support on this episode. Currently, the support is at 19 patrons. If you'd like to be patron number 20, visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. My pick this week is short and sweet. This is Oso, the American Bully. This is a clip that was on TikTok. I see a lot of dog videos on TikTok. I see a lot more American Bully dogs on TikTok because I really like them. And I would like to own one at some point. But Oso, I believe, is a pocket bully. If he's a full-size bully, he's real short because he's got a massive head. He is absolutely adorable. He looks a little grumpy, but in this particular video, it's in response to someone asking, does his tail ever stop wagging? And the owner's response is no. And here's video proof of Oso at the beach, Oso in bed, Oso on a cot, Oso with friends, Oso with family, Oso being picked up, Oso under blanket, Oso hiding, fast asleep, tail wagging the entire time. The entire time. Like, I kid you not, this will make you smile no matter what. It is just a really fun video of a very cute dog enjoying friends and family and wagging his tail absolutely constantly. And for folks that are not familiar with an American bully, it's like a pit bull, but like stocky. Different temperament, but like that's kind of how they look. And so their tails are also these real big muscular, like they look like dinosaur tails. And they just, so when they wag, there's no like fur flapping back and forth. It's very much like this very large tail appendage just kind of like going back and forth like a propeller. You kind of expect them to like move forward with it. It's very
looks
odd.
like it'll hurt when it hits you if you walk by it.
Yeah. I saw it. So this is an aside. So talking about big dog videos. There's a Great Dane that was wagging its tail, but its tail was between like a dining room ottoman and like maybe a garbage can or something. So the tail was just going like bum, 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 back and forth. And it had this big echo. But every time it hit the garbage can, it was like a different bassier sound. And then somebody at the table was just laughing to kill themselves as they were fake like dancing at a rave because the dog's tail was just this constant like thumping beat from like a techno rave. It was just priceless. But same vibe from Oso. He's definitely a happy little dog. I say little. He's probably kidding. He's probably 70 pounds. He's stocky. Oh, yeah. He's a big, heavy looking dog, but he's not very tall. So that's why I think he's a pocket bully.
Looks pretty dense.
Yeah, in the friendliest way. Like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my pick.
So my pick, it's going to be a little bit unusual in the sense that I know we've talked about shows already, but I'm talking about another show, and in the spirit of K-pop Demon Hunter. This show is a Korean drama called Reply 1988, and I just finished watching it this past week, and I've been thinking about it a ton. It's basically a small neighborhood epic tale in this small, fairly poor part of Seoul. The main story takes place during the teenagers' lives, but it goes back to when they were toddlers, when they all first met, and then what happens at the end once everyone sort of gets to the end of the story and as parents get older and things like that. So it's impressive what they cover in this story. And it was recommended to me by Moon, who's a woman in the Korean class I'm taking. She's probably say around 65 years old, and she said this is super authentic to the time period of when she was in 1988 when she was living in Korea, and she lived in a neighborhood that was right around the corner from here. So she basically said this is almost a tale about what life was like for her in the part of Korea she lived, and really good, really well acted. It's like 5 friends who genuinely feel like friends, and their interactions seem authentic and believable, and then the issues they're going through with school and trying to get in college. Either way, no, it's good. Reply 1988. It's not short. It's 20 episodes, and each episode is between an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So it's
holy crap.
Oh yeah. So it was like basically watching a ton of movies to get through this entire thing. But I tell you, it's been sitting with me. I've been thinking about it a lot. It's really good, really well done.
So I'll have to. I say add that to the list, but it'll be years before we finish that. Man. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Citadel Cafe. You can get more information about the show and links to some of the things that Stephen and I talked about tonight at thecitadelcafe.com. Music for the show was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can email us and let us know what you thought about Fantastic Four, K-pop Demon Hunters, maybe even Superman, at thecitadelcafe@gmail.com. You can also find the show by name on social media. Subscribe for free on all the major podcasting platforms. That includes audio on YouTube. The RSS feed is in the show notes, available on our website at thecitadelcafe.com. Word of mouth, though, is the easiest way to support the show. If you'd just like to tell friends about the Citadel Cafe and where they can go to listen to it, we would be forever grateful. It is a great way to grow the podcast. My name is Joel Duggan, and you can find everything I am doing online at joelduggan.com. More than that, I'd like to point you towards thespawnchunks.com, which is my podcast all about Minecraft. There are new snapshots every week right now. We're working towards the fall drop, which looks like going to be focusing on copper and the copper golem. And also we have Minecraft Live coming up probably either at the end of September or the beginning of October. And Johnny and I cover that live every time that happens. So check that out, thespawnchunks.com. And of course, the Spawn Chunks is on all of your favorite podcasting platforms as well. I'm Joel Duggan on social media and Joel Duggan on Twitch. I stream Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Atlantic and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Atlantic. Right now, I'm focused on Minecraft on the Citadel server. Actually, Stephen is on the server with me from time to time, and I am probably going to finish West Hill this week. Like, we're real close. I've just got a couple more things to do, and this 4.5-year-old medieval town that I've been building is done, and it's real big. So if you're interested in this and you're interested in details and buildings, then check it out. Twitch.tv/Joel Duggan. Stephen, where can people find you online?
Not online much these days, but if I'm anywhere, I'm on Blue Sky at StephenESC or on Mastodon at StephenESC at mstdn.ca.
You've been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap, but you can only pick two.